Hey, what's up guys? Jeff Fenster here, and if you're new to the show, I want to invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And don't forget to hit the notification bell to be notified on all things The Jeff Fenster Show. The link will be in the show notes below. Now, back to the show. Hey guys, welcome back to The Jeff Fenster Show for another segment of Lessons Learned, where we're going to recap the top 9 takeaways from Jen Gottlieb on being authentically you. Number 1, if you want something, make it happen. What was the inspiration for Jen to say, that's what I see, that's what I want to help, that's what I want to be a part of?
Well, I initially moved to New York City when I was 20 to be an actress. I thought that that was my purpose on this planet, that I was going to say other people's lines and sing other people's songs. I was a musical theater actress. I moved to New York at 20 years old. I dropped out of college to study musical theater full-time at the American Musical and Dramatic Academy on the Upper West Side of New York. And I was like, this is my life's goal. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to, be a waitress if I have to, and I'm just going to audition. I'm going to live that actor lifestyle. So I go to school for performing, and then right after school, or like right towards the end of school, I ended up getting this role, my dream role, in the Broadway national tour of The Wedding Singer. You know the Adam Sandler movie?
I do.
Yeah. So I played Linda, the bitch that leaves Robbie Hart at the altar. It was my dream role. For some reason, I saw that role on Broadway, and I was like, that's my part. Like, I have to play that part. And I was dead set on it. And that experience of actually booking that part and getting it was a huge, huge, like...
Was that your first real role?
Yes. But realization in that if I'm persistent and I don't give up, I can make whatever I want happen. Mm-hmm. Because I couldn't have been further away from actually getting a Broadway part at the moment in time when I saw the woman play the role on the stage. And I was like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that one day. And I decided, I was like, this is like my challenge to myself. I'm going to make this happen. And I eventually did. And when I did, and I played the role on stage for the first time, I was like, holy crap, Jen. If you want something and you're persistent and you consistently take action and you see yourself in it and you believe that you can do it, you actually can make things happen.
Number 2, from affirmation to manifestation. What was the thing you told yourself that let you start over?
I remember looking out at that brick wall right when I moved into that room. And every morning I would look out like, how did this happen? And I just kept saying to myself, one day I'll know. Like, one day I'll know. This sucks so bad. One day I'll know why this happened. One day there will be a reason. And I just started to think about what could that reason be. And my mom had to step in because I was in a severe depression at this time. I was like, I don't even know what to do with my life. And my mom came to New York City and she took me to dinner. And my mom is a Reiki master and like very into spirituality. And I wasn't at the time, not even a little bit, like not even into personal development a tiny bit. And we're sitting at this Italian restaurant. I'm crying and the bill comes and she takes out her wallet to pay the bill, but she slides this book across the table. And it's this book called You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. It's a book of affirmations. And of course I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, Mom. You with your...
Like, this is going to help me right now.
Woo-woo books. Like, she knew I wasn't going to read the book. So she photocopied one of the affirmations inside the book and put it in the front. I go home and I open this up and there's a photocopy. And on the back it says, Jenny, I hope you find yourself again. And so I took this affirmation and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to read this book. Mom knew I wasn't going to read it. But I'm going to take this affirmation and I'm going to put it on my refrigerator and I'll just read the stupid thing every day. I'm going to read it every day. And that's it. That's all I'm going to commit to. So every day I woke up and I read this affirmation. Even though I didn't really believe in it, sometimes I was like, this is so stupid. But I read it, and every day that I read it, it kind of started to transform the way that I thought about things. And it helped me just take another action step in the right direction and figure out what I wanted to do and start to find who I really was again. And like, it was helping without me even realizing it was helping. Mm-hmm. But the real kicker here is that affirmation was the first step to changing my life, I believe. It was reprogramming my brain slowly but surely and helping me to like expand and dive in deeper into personal development, dive in deeper into like my potential entrepreneurial journey. That book was written by Louise Hay. And my publisher for Be Seen is Hay House, Louise Hay's publishing company. Now, Louise Hay is no longer with us. She died, but I believe that she was watching over me. And it couldn't be a more perfect fit for my publisher to be Louise Hay. And I got to tell my team that.
And that's just circumstance.
Complete.
You didn't seek them out.
No, actually, we were pitching all different publishers for this book.
Wow.
And that was the one that ended up being the best fit.
Number 3, don't should all over yourself. I find it hard, and I think I speak for a lot of people. It's hard sometimes to be the authentic version of yourself because we don't always know what that is.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming part of the work you have to do is to help people figure out their authentic voice, their authentic who they are, because we're programmed to be this version of ourselves that fits all these boxes, whether we're an employee or employer or founder or not, or executive or mom or dad or brother, sister, relationship, whatever we are. There's like a profile that comes with that.
Yeah.
So how do you help individuals break through that and realize this is who I am? I'm not the fake rock-loving Britney Spears impersonating Jen, but I am this Jen.
Yeah. I think the word should starts to happen in our life in a big way when we're growing up, right? I believe that when we're little kids, we really know. We know. Like when I was a little girl, I had this moment. I was a performer. I was on stage all the time, and I had this moment where I was in this children's theater company, and they asked us to step forward and say our name and say what we wanted to be when we grew up. And I remember stepping forward and looking out at the audience with like the lights and seeing my mom and my dad. And I was like, I'm Jenny Gottlieb, and when I grow up, I'm going to be a Broadway star. And I fully believed it. When we're kids, we believe it until somebody comes and says, you should really do this. You should be quiet. You should dress a certain way. You should sit down. You should not talk so loud. You should probably be a doctor or a lawyer, or you should probably do something that's a little bit more concrete than wanting to be an actress, right? And all of these shoulds, and a lot of the times it's people that really love us and care about us. They just have their own fear and their own issues. So they should all over you, and then you start shooting all over yourself. And when you should all over yourself, you make a really big mess. So a lot of the times we know who we really are, and we start to lose it over time. And that's what happened to me. And the best way to figure out like who you really are and what you want to do in this life, and what that spark is, and that true like in the pocket version of you, I like to call it, is by tapping back into who that little kid is, I find.
Number 4, getting back in the pocket.
But let's talk about how to get back in the pocket with who you truly are. So what I'll do is, let's say I've completely like lost, I've lost my way for a second. Like I'm doing something, it doesn't feel like me. I feel out of alignment. I feel out of, out of flow. I'll go for a walk and I'll put on a song that I used to listen to when I was little, or a song that I listened to when I felt the most Jen, the most in the pocket. So Jeff, when was a time in your life where you felt the most Jeff ever?
Middle school.
You were like, I am so Jeff.
Yes.
What was your favorite song during that time?
Oof. Favorite song, middle school. That's tough. I have to go back and think about songs.
Give me a memory, or the first thing that comes to your mind when you were like having that moment of I'm so Jeff, I'm so in the pocket, I'm such a badass from middle school. Can you just give me like a quick memory?
It was usually activities.
Okay.
Because I was really big into sports.
Okay.
And back in middle school, I was a late bloomer in high school, so I was really little in high school. But in middle school, everyone was little.
Yeah.
So I was like the badass.
You were the badass in sports.
I wasn't the shortest guy, so I wasn't like naturally like picked last. Like it was like, no, this guy. I was the star. So I was just in my element.
So here's what I would do.
I was a professional sports athlete.
You were?
I was.
You still can.
Yeah, it's a little, maybe. It'll be a cool story. It'll be
Powered
like
by Everbowl.
Yes.
Everbowl will just sponsor a team.
Yeah, there you go. We'll buy a team.
There you go. Exactly. Yes. Yeah, fuck sponsor. Yeah. Buy a team. Okay, so this is what I would want you to do is put on any kind of song that makes you feel really badass and empowered. And then I want you to go for a walk, and I want you to put yourself back in that sports game.
Okay.
So think of one sports game that you crushed it, and at the end you were just like, oh, yes, and you were so in flow and you were so Jeff. And maybe you put on a song that you really like now that pumps you up and amps you up, and go outside and go for a walk and walk as that Jeff. Okay. Put yourself in that body. You are that little Jeff that just won the game and crushed it. And you put on that song and just envision that you're walking back from that game and start to embody that guy, what that guy felt like, and walk around the planet and navigate the world as that kid. Every single time I do that, I'm like, that's who I am. Mm-hmm. And then I think about what's the decision that I need to make. I want to make it from that Jen, not any other Jen. Now, should I be doing this thing? Am I doing this for me, or am I doing this for somebody else? And am I doing this the way that Jen would do it? Are you doing it the way that empowered little boy with all that energy and like, I'm a freaking rock star would do it? Yes or no? If it's a no, Go
Don't
do
do
something else.
Hey, fitness fans, ready to crush your fitness goals? Make your move to EOS Fitness, where becoming a member starts at just $9.99 a month. Gyms are open 24/7 and packed with the latest gym equipment to keep your workouts fresh. What are you waiting for? Give them a call, drop by, or hit up jefffenster.com/EOS to join. EOS Fitness, better gym, better price. Now, let's get after those goals. Number 5, time does not stop.
Time does not stop, right? The amazing moments, they're temporary, and the bad moments are temporary too, right? But the growth that comes as a result of all of those moments is permanent.
Mm-hmm.
So if you only get this day one time, why would you spend that day doing something that is completely out of alignment from what little Jeff wanted to do? Wouldn't you want to make little Jeff proud? Wouldn't you want to bring all that power and that confidence and that love and that joy to everything that you're doing today? So keep him in mind. So go for walks with him. And I like walking. Like the reason I do it while walking is because, you're an athlete. But when you move your body, something happens to your brain.
Yes, the blood's flowing.
Yeah.
And you're outside, you got some energy.
Yeah, the dopamine. And then you start to actually embody little Jeff.
Is it going to be weird when you call me next time and I'm going to say, sorry, I'm spending some time with little Jeff?
Not at all.
Okay.
I love
It's
it.
not going to feel awkward?
No, I'll be like, I'll call you back later.
Okay.
Enjoy.
Yeah. Number 6, you got to see you before others can see you. Maybe you're not a leader of a company.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're an employee and you're working a job that you love and you never want to be an entrepreneur, but you are listening to this show and you're like, I need to do better at being my authentic self inside of the organization or just as a human. With the tactics that you're going to provide and I'll learn and be seen, do they apply even if I'm not the leader of the organization?
Absolutely. What I've found from talking to a lot of people, whether they be huge entrepreneurs and CEOs and billionaires or people that are in corporate and loving their life or parents or whatever stage of life you're in, the thing that I find that's always certain within every conversation or within every experience is that everybody wants to feel seen. Everybody wants to feel seen, whether that is they want you to listen to them and be interested in them and they want to feel seen and important and loved, but they don't know how to really connect. So they don't have a network of people that they could connect to. And there's an entire section of the book on how to network and how to build your community because that's such an important part of being seen.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be seen by somebody, right? And it feels amazing when you can find that tribe, right? Or it's like, gosh, I've been living this life that my parents wanted me to live for so long and people are seeing me as somebody that I'm not. And I just want to break through and I just want to be able to be myself. And I want to be in a relationship with somebody that really sees me for who I am. And so everything that I'm teaching throughout the book are stories mixed with strategies. And they're not just for entrepreneurs. They're for humans in general to help them feel seen and to help them show up in the world as who they are because everybody has something amazing to bring to this planet. And if you're not letting people see it, then what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
But you got to see you before you can let people see you.
Number 7, confidence is built from commitments.
So I believe that confidence is built from just consistently sticking with those commitments. You make a commitment, you stick with it, you become more confident in your ability to trust yourself that you follow through. So if I make a commitment and I follow through on that. So I'm like, all right, Jen, dare of the day, you're going to go live on Instagram and you're going to put your makeup on. And the first time, there wasn't a lot of people that showed up because they didn't know I was doing it. And I just did it. And it wasn't very good. And it was really scary. But here's the thing about confidence and about being seen and about making video. First time's always the hardest. But once you've gotten over that and you've taken that scary action step, the second time's not as hard.
Mm-hmm.
Then the third time's not as hard. And then you start getting wins. Then cool stuff starts to happen. Like people DMing you and saying, that live was amazing. It changed my life. Are you doing it again tomorrow? Thank you so much. Then I'm like, whoa, now I'm actually like accountable to people. Now people really want this. It's momentum. That's how it's created. And then that's how confidence is created because whereas before it was so scary for me to do it and I didn't want to do it and it felt too vulnerable. And now it's like non-negotiable. I just do it.
Every day.
Every day, Monday through Friday.
Every
no
day.
matter what.
Number 8, moving the needle.
I have found that there's 2 things that move the needle when it comes to success. 2 things, always. It always boils down to these 2 things. Number 1, connections and people. Number 1. Because when I connect the dots looking backwards, all of my opportunities have always came from people and connections that I've made. So pouring into other people and giving without wanting anything in return and just being as giving as you possibly can. And you get this. You wrote the whole book on it. Okay. So networking, people, connections. But number 2, once you have that connection and you have that network and you have those people, you need to take action. Because too many people sit around and think about it and daydream about it and visualize about it and vision board about it and think and think and think and think and plan. And they want the perfect plan before they take action. And then before they know it, it's 10 years later and they've been planning and thinking about it and they never did anything. But guess what? You're never going to figure out the how without the doing first. Clarity follows action. You need to take action with fear in the passenger seat of your car.
Mm-hmm.
You need to put it there. You need to know that you're going to be scared. You're going to know that you might fail. That's okay, because failure is only going to lead you to the next right step. So it's people and then taking consistent action no matter what, doing.
Yep. Number 9, fear's job is to keep you the same. How do you overcome the days that you struggle? The days where you know that you need to do it. You have the fear, you have the anxiety, you have the I don't knows and all the apprehension that comes with it. What do you tell yourself, or what is your little personal mantra or thing that you do that says, this is how I'm going to overcome the roadblock?
Yeah. So I resist always at first. And my husband will tell you this. I am a persistent resistor. I don't know why I do this, but this is like one of the things about me. If you tell me to do something, I'll be like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't know why. I just resist it first. And then I have to like come to the terms that I'm going to take action on it on my own. It's very weird. So I know all about this because I'll get an idea and I'll immediately, my brain likes to do this reaction thing where it resists. And it says, no, this is what fear does. Fear's job is to keep you the same. That's its whole job, to keep you from taking action. So it comes on in and it says lies to us. Like, you're not ready to do that. You don't have the money to do that. You don't have the time to do that. This person wouldn't like it if you did that. You're going to make this person feel bad if you did that. Now's not, like all of these excuses. And then I'm like, yeah, no, I can't do it. So I start to like get myself off the hook, let myself off the hook. And then I have to acknowledge what I'm doing. That's the hardest part. Understanding that that's happening. So if you're listening to this right now, and you start to hear that loop, or you start to hear yourself saying, oh, you can't do that because after you've gotten that big idea, take a pause and just talk to fear. I talk to fear. I have conversations with fear. I do a lot of these weird talking to people and things that don't exist, but it's helped me in my life, so why not? So I'll be like, oh, fear, hi.
Oh, you legitimately talk to fear.
Legit. I see you. I get it. I know you're telling me that I don't have time. You're telling me that I'm not good enough. You're telling me that, I don't have the energy to do that, or I'm going to be burnt out if I do that, or I'm too overwhelmed. This is what my fear usually tells me. You're too overwhelmed. You can't do that. We're always more capable than we think. Mm-hmm. We always have more time than we think. We always have more energy than we think. So then I say, guess what, fear? Thank you. Thank you for coming and keeping me safe and like doing your very, very best. But you're going to sit in the passenger seat of the car. I'm going to put you there. You're going to be there, and I'm driving. You can't touch the radio. You can't yell at me anymore. You're just going to sit there. We're going to go together. I know you're going to be there, but I'm going to take action on this first step anyways. And usually when I have that little conversation with fear, like F you fear, and I give it the finger and I say, sit in the car and shut up. Now, what's the first step that I can do that's the lowest hanging fruit to get me a win? Because motivation and momentum does not come from thinking about it. It doesn't come from looking at a pretty picture or listening to a podcast or reading an inspirational book. Maybe that's inspiring, but it doesn't create momentum or motivation. Momentum and motivation comes from getting a win, from doing something hard and feeling the dopamine from doing that thing and, I succeeded, yay, now I want to do the next thing. So I think of, okay, fear, shut up, get in the passenger seat of the car. Now, what's the lowest hanging fruit? How can I get a win? So I do the easiest possible thing that I can do in the direction of what I'm going to do that's going to get me a win, to give me a little bit of motivation to get to the next step. All you got to do is kickstart that motivation. I call it the confidence continuum. And once you've gotten that little win, it could be the smallest win ever. Celebrate it and use that energy to go to that next step. And then it'll give you the next step and then the next one. That's how the Instagram Live was born.
Thank you for listening to another segment of Lessons Learned. I hope you learned as much as I did from our special guest, Jen Gottlieb. Thank you so much for listening. If you're looking to level up your relationship capital game, then take a minute and text the word Jeff to 33777 for a free copy of my Network to Millions playbook. The link will also be provided in the show notes below. See you guys next time.